Jai.
जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीदिव्यांग भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर महाराज की जय।
Jai.
कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय।
Jai.
फाउंडराचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
Jai.
नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय।
Jai.
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद की जय।
Jai.
जय श्री राधा शरद बिहारी की
Jai.
जय श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की
Jai.
जय श्री श्री परम करुणा श्री श्री गौर निताय की
Jai.
भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की
Jai.
समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की
Jai.
all glories
Hare Krishna.
all glories to assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Hari Hari.
Hare Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Good morning, everyone. Friday. We'll recite from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, The Creation, Chapter 11, Lord Krishna's entrance into Dwarka, and text 12. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Sarvartu Sarva Vibhava Punya Vriksha Latasramahi Udyana Pavanarame Bhuta Padma Karashyam. Sarvartu Sarva Vibhava Punya Vriksha Latasramahi Udyana Pavanarame Bhuta Padma Karashriyam. Sarvartu Sarva Vibhava Punya Vriksha Lata Samahi Udyana Pavana Rame Bhuta Padma Karashriyam. Is this right?
Sarvartu Sarva Vibhava Punya Vriksha Latashramai Udyano Pavanaramair Vrita Padma Karashriyam.
Sarvatu Sarva Vibhava Punya Vriksha Latakshramai Udyano Panvanaramayir Rita Padmakara Shriyam.
Sarvartu Sarva Vibhava Punya Vriksha Latashrame Udyano Pavanar Ame Vrita Padma Karashriyam.
Sarvatu Sarva Vibhava Punya Vriksha Latashamai Udyano Pavana Ramai Vrita Padma Karashriyam.
Hare Krishna.
Sarvatu Sarva Vibhava Punya Viksha Atashanai Udya No Pavana Ranai Rita Padma Karashriyam.
Hare Krishna. Sarvartu Sarva Vibhava Punya Vriksha Latasramahi Udyano Pavana Haramair Vrita Padma Karashriyam. Hare Krishna.
सर्वर्तु सर्वविभवा पुण्यवृक्षलताश्रमैः उद्यानोपवनरामैर्वृतपद्माकराश्रियम्
सर्वतु सर्वविभवा पुण्यवृक्षलताश्रमैः उद्यानोपवनरामैर्वृतपद्माकराश्रियम्.
Thank you so much. So we will do the synonyms now. Sarva, all. Ritu, seasons. Sarva, all. Vibhava, opulences. Punya, pious. Vriksha, trees. Lata, creepers. Ashramahe, with hermitages. Udyana, orchards. Upavana, flower gardens. Aramahe, pleasure gardens and beautiful parks. Brita, surrounded by. Padma Akara, the birthplaces of lotuses or nice reservoirs of water. Sriyam, increasing the beauty. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhayacharana Arvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The city of Dwarka Puri was filled with the opulences of all seasons. There were hermitages, orchards, flower gardens, parks, and reservoirs of water, breeding lotus flowers all over. Purport. Perfection of human civilization is made possible by utilizing the gifts of nature in their own way. As we find herewith in the description of its opulence, Dwarka was surrounded by flower gardens and fruit orchards, along with reservoirs of water and growing lotuses. There is no mention of mills and factories supported by slaughterhouses, which are the necessary paraphernalia of the modern metropolis. The propensity to utilize nature's own gifts is still there, even in the heart of modern civilized men. The leaders of modern civilization select their own residential quarters in a place where there are such naturally beautiful gardens and reservoirs of water. But they leave the common man to reside in the congested areas without parks and gardens. Herein, of course, we find a different description of the city of Dwarka. It is understood that the whole Dhama, or residential quarter, was surrounded by such gardens and parks with reservoirs of water where lotuses grew. It is understood that all the people depended on nature's gift of fruits and flowers without industrial enterprises, promoting filthy huts and slums for residential quarters. Advancement of civilization is estimated not on the growth of mills and factories or to deteriorate the finer instincts of the human being, but on developing the potent spiritual instincts of human beings and giving them a chance to go back to Godhead. Development of factories and mills is called Ugra Karma or pungent activities. And such activities deteriorate the finer sentiments of the human being and society to form a dungeon of demons. We find herein the mention of pious trees, which produce seasonal flowers and fruits. The impious trees are useless jungles only. They can only be used to supply fuels. In the modern civilization, such impious trees are planted on the sides of the roads. Human energy should be properly utilized in developing the finer senses of spiritual understanding, in which lies the solution of life. Fruits, flowers, beautiful gardens, parks, and reservoirs of water with ducks and swans playing in the midst of lotus flowers. And cows giving sufficient milk and butter are essential for developing the finer tissues of the human body. As against this, the dungeon of mines, factories, and workshops develop demonic propensities in the working class. The vested interests flourish at the cost of the working class, and consequently, there are severe classes between them in so many ways. The description of Dwarka Dham is the ideal of human civilization. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Sri Gaura Bhakta Brinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I would like to seek blessings from all the assembled Vaishnavas, senior Vaishnavas. Vishnugada Prabhu, thank you so much. Dhanacharya Prabhu, Golkananda Priyamataji, and everybody, everybody, Sudhimada Sudevi. If I miss anyone, please forgive me. So with your permissions, we will begin today's session. Today is a very auspicious day also. I'm sure all of you know. Today is on Tithi, the Rath Yatra ceremony is going on in Jagannath Puri at this time. It's a very, very beautiful. After a few years of not able to participate, devotees are enthusiastically joining Rath Yatra. You can watch live. So it's a wonderful verse today. We can really correlate between Rath Yatra and today's verse as well. And the chapter is, the city of Dwarkapuri was filled with the opulences of all seasons. There were hermitages, orchards, flower gardens, parks, and reservoirs of water, breeding lotus flowers all over. And the title of the chapter is Lord Krishna's entrance into Dwarka. So this is, even though it is first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, but very profound subject matter. Especially union and separation in devotional service. The previous chapter also we discussed about separation, where the Pandavas are feeling separation because the Lord Krishna left Hastinapur. And now Dwarka Vasis, the residents of Dwarka, are feeling union with Krishna's presence. This is significance of union and separation in devotional service. We can see, we learn in Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the teachings of Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we learn this both aspects of union, love in union and love in separation, service in union and service in separation. I never heard about anywhere else. So manifestation of these ecstasies in union and separation and love in union and love in separation are perfection of life. This example here from residents of Dwarka, it shows their advancement in devotional service. How desperate they were being away from the Lord for so long. You know, He is the Lord. He is the Lord. He can keep us. He can kick us. He can go away from us. He is completely free. Even the gopis and residents of Braj, they wanted Krishna to be there all the time. Of course, Krishna was always with them, but they could not keep him. That's a last prayer of Siksashtakam. Asli Shiva Padratam Pinastamam Adarsanam Marmahatam Karotava Yatha Tathava Vedadatulam Petu Mat Prananathasta Saevanapara. That is Srimati Radharani expressing this prayer by Srimati Radharani, which is also given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for us, the ultimate perfection, how we can attain. It's not possible to attain that position, but it shows the mental condition of Srimati Radharani, heart of Srimati Radharani, how she says, Mat Prananathasta Saevanapara. In all conditions, you are my worshipable Lord. So Dwarka, residents of Dwarka is also in similar way expressing that they are saying, "O lotus-eyed Lord, whenever you go away from Mathura, Vrindavan, or Hastinapur to meet your friends and relatives, every moment of your absence seems like millions of years. Yugaitam nimisena chaksusa prabhrisaitam sunnetam jagasarvam govindo birahena me." O infallible one, at that time our eyes become useless as if bereft of sun. This is genuine prayer. It is called spontaneous love. The residents of Dwarka and Brajavasis, they have spontaneous love. They don't have to practice this prayer every day. It is not sadhana bhakti. But we are so fortunate. We are so fortunate. Even though physical proximity, we are far, far from Dwarka and Vrindavan, living in this midst of concrete jungles, Philadelphia, Delaware, and all this thing. Still, those feelings of union and separation can be experienced by practicing devotional service, which Srila Prabhupada has provided as the topmost treasure, which one can aspire to attain. Such a great, unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Prabhupada is being pure devotee, advanced, and he knows that the potency of devotional service, he brings this. And this temple at Philadelphia is also New Nilachal Dham. Please correct me if that's right or wrong. New Nilachal Dham. Am I right?
Correct. That's correct. New Nilachala Dham.
Thank you. Nilachala Dham or New Nilachala Dham?
New Nilachala Dham.
Okay, thank you.
It's not the original.
Right. So Srila Prabhupada has offered us the process where we can attain the same perfection, living in this midst of all this chaotic society. Still, we can develop the highest perfection of feeling of separation and love, service in union, service in separation. Actually, it is fact. In this temple, there's so many devotees have come up. Many times because of familiarity, we say, oh, it's again this and it's again the same temple, same walls, same building. Well, that's what is not being offered in the temple. The temple gives us opportunity to grow, advance, perfect, get out of this material world. It's an oasis. It's an what do you call? It is called embassy, spiritual embassy, where we can find perfection. That's the mode of we can always go and aspire from that, forgetting all these externals, appearances, who does what. On this regard, on this auspicious day of Rath Yatra, I would like to share a couple of points. How Lord Chaitanya used to see Lord Jagannath in the mode. Of course, it's not possible for me to explain what was his mood, but from Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's Chaitanya Charitamrita description, I can give a little brief. Brief is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, on the request of his mother, proceeded towards Jagannath Puri. It is Lord's will. It's Lord's will. It's Lord's will. And through Leela, his mother inspired him to go to Jagannath Puri. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was proceeding towards Jagannath Puri as he reaches Atharanala. Nala means canal. It's called Nala, but in English we write Atharanala. Atharanala, 18. I see that if you've been to Jagannath Puri, if you see, there's a canal with 18 pillars in the bridge. I hope that's what is called Atharanala. So when he arrived at Atharanala, just close to Jagannath temple, that point he was so desperate to have Jagannath, to see Jagannath. He gave some excuse. He left the association of Nityananda and all other associates and rushed towards Jagannath Puri temple. When Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered Jagannath temple, it's written that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went swiftly to embrace Lord Jagannath. Swiftly means so desperate to see. But when he entered the temple, he was so overwhelmed with love of Godhead that he fainted to the floor. So when he sees Jagannath, so it is in union with Lord, and in union also these ecstasies are manifested, and one becomes so overwhelmed, very, very overwhelmed, and tears comes, and here it shows that the Lord personally fainted. He fainted. This is Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Charitamrita is activities of the Lord, or activities of the soul on spiritual platform. What is the symptoms? When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell down, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya happened to see him. When the watchman threatened to beat the Lord, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya immediately forbade him. So all these externals, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was he's unaware what had happened, but he fell in unconscious when he saw the beautiful form of Lord Jagannath in this. So this is the perfection. These are the perfectional stage attained by the residents of Dwarka, residents of Braja, the devotees of the Lord. And today is the auspicious Rath Yatra, which is happening at this time, and millions of people are attended, and even though so much of inconveniences to attend Rath Yatra, very much inconvenience, so crowded, but still what attracts them to go there? Generally nowadays we look for convenient, very nice, all the facilities has to be there, but people in general had interest in having darshan and serving of the Lord. They didn't had all 5-star hotels, or will I get the room there? Will I get all kind of food? They never had. People used to just walk and travel to see Lord Jagannath. And we can see from Chaitanya Charitamrita even to the residents of Navadip, they used to come to see Lord Chaitanya and have participate in Rath Yatra. So this is beauty of spiritual culture which Prabhupada gave. Without his mercy, it would not have been possible at all to understand. Today I was hearing the commentary from live Rath Yatra. The person was giving very weird commentary. They don't know what they're speaking. And I wish that sometimes the devotees are put in such commentary. They can give real enlightenment. I'm talking Doordarshan channel and many other channels. They don't know what to speak. They don't know this intimacy, this secret, this confidential pastimes of Jagannath, reciprocation between the Lord and the devotees. So this Jagannath Puri is also, if I'm not wrong, is compared to Dwarka. There's a song we see, I think, Satchisuta Ashtakam. No. Nilachale Sankha Chakradhari. It's a prayer to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In Nilachala, he is holding Sankha Chakra, a Sankh conchal and disc. But in Braj, he does not hold Sankha Chakra. He's holding the flute. However, this whole Rath Yatra is still living in that way. He is in the mode of Brajbasis. And so today's verse, coming back to today's verse, we will just, how Prabhupada has explained the nature. 12. Yeah. The city of Dwarkapuri was filled with the opulences of all seasons. There were hermitages, orchards, flower gardens, parks, and reservoirs of water breeding lotus flowers all over. So it gives a glimpse of the spiritual world. It gives a glimpse of Vaikuntha Loka. This Dwarka is none different than the Vaikuntha Loka. This material world is perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So even though we live in this world, we have come here, Krishna is kind. He gives us a vision how one can live. Prabhupada writes in the purport, perfection of human civilization is made possible by utilizing the gifts of nature in their own way. I know we have many devotees on this call who has experience by living in the farm facility, living with nature. As we find here, we have it in the description of its opulence. Dwarka was surrounded by flower gardens and fruit orchards, along with reservoirs of water and growing lotuses. So Prabhupada condemns that, artificially, the modern civilization is created, the cities filled with mills and factories, supported by the slaughterhouses. So much of chaos. There's always problem of job. I lived in Bombay for some time. Mother Sumi? Yeah, thank you. I lived in Bombay for almost a year. Such a horrible condition. If you lived in Bombay, you like it. I don't have any comments, but just saying. And similar to New York also. Many people living in Delaware and they travel to New York, get New York's money and try to enjoy in Delaware. But what about that commute? People don't even get a proper food, lunch or breakfast and dinner. They just grab some sandwiches, some stale sandwiches from store and bite and drive. And what is then fun? You may be driving in Tesla. What is the fun? It somehow Prabhupada has been very bold to explain all this. Many personalities have realized, but Prabhupada also mentioned that even though these residents, these entrepreneurs, they also appreciate this natural setup. Because they earn money, they create their small houses, farmhouses, remotely. And after working so much, they go and enjoy with nature for some time. But they let these city people, in the name of money and facilities, they let them work. You work hard. They cannot go. Everybody cannot go and enjoy living in the city, cannot go and enjoy the nature. But here we can see that there is no need of such facilities. The leaders of modern civilization select their own residential quarters in a place where there are such naturally beautiful gardens and reservoirs of water. But they leave the common men to reside in congested areas without parks and gardens. Interestingly, in America also, I noticed that many times there's a lot of appreciation for nature. The hotels and the places of vacation are always made in the midst of nature. I happened to see 2 weeks back. There also I find, all these facilities are made within the nature. Lakes are there, trees are there. It's natural to have it. So we find the description of Dwarka is surrounded by such gardens and parks with reservoirs of water where lotuses grew. It is understood that all the people depended on nature's gift of fruits and flowers without industrial enterprises promoting filthy huts and slums for residential quarters. I'm just changing a little bit subject. Where I come from in Orissa, there's full of natural resources. It is considered the poorest state in India. I don't know why they used to call poor, because in Orissa did not have big buildings and big cities. They did not have. Of course, now Bhubaneswar is a nice, beautiful city. But in southern part of Orissa, is all tribal. It's full of mountains. It's full of mountains and so much of natural resources. And now what is the situation? Is big industrialists now they are trying to occupy and making steel plants, everything. So there's always fight between the local residents and industrialists. Guess who wins? Who wins?
Industrialists.
Yeah. They are only wins, and it's just a matter of time. All these natural resources and beauties will be gone. Prabhupada writes in the previous verse, in this Kali Yuga, it's hard to manage those things. It's hard to tackle with those. The best way is that we chant Hare Krishna. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nama Vikevalam, Kalo Nasteva 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 Gatiranata. The minds and hearts of people are polluted. We will not know what is good and what is bad. We will not know, we will not have that understanding. But even though we have understanding, sometimes you can only meditate on these places, but you won't get it. Because we are trained, and our upbringing in this modern civilization, our upbringing is such full of passion and ignorance, right? Even while practicing bhakti, our life is, our upbringing is full of passion. If you allow me to go to Gita Nagari and stay there for I cannot stay. I'm telling you to be frank, though I like it. So this is because of the passion. But Prabhupada made build these cities and farm communities in such a way that cities are needed, the centers in the cities are needed, so that we can give to devotional service to the residents of cities. At the same time, he built this farm community so that devotees can go, those who want or those who can go and develop those farm communities and live there peacefully with proper food, proper milk. I'm hearing from the previous past incidents, as Prabhupada created this farm communities, there were abundant food. I recently took a project in India where I mentioned in the past that rescuing the cows. The cows are going for slaughter, and we rescued those cows. At the beginning, they didn't give any milk. Now they're healthy. They're giving all the milk. They're giving the cow manure, and actually, it's real wealth. It's nourishing the land. The trees are growing. It's converting into the fertile land, having the cows in the property. So it's really wonderful things can happen. So we can see from the description of Dwarka that how Lord Krishna has designed this place. Very beautiful. It can be even compared with Indraloka. It appears like such beautiful places. Now, with final paragraph, I will go through. Prabhupada writes something here that we find here in the mention of pious trees which produces seasonal flowers and fruits. Can anyone remember some of the pious trees? Anyone would like?
Trees that give fruits and flowers.
Yes, fruits and flowers. Yeah, some names. Amla, amla, mango. Of course, this.
Tulsi.
Yeah, tulsi is the plant. Yes. Banyan tree. But we can have the banyan tree here. I believe Prabhupada commented on the type of trees we have around. Unfortunately, no one wants the fruit trees. They say if you put the fruit trees, there's a lot of maintenance. I have no idea what is how much truth into it, but Prabhupada really condemned that the kind of trees we have, useless trees, they're only good for fuel. But we don't want to plant a tree in our premises, but we want to drive 15 miles to get a pound of cherry or apples. So it's amazing. So we started planting some of the fruit trees in our temple this year. And India also, we planting almost 200 trees, as Vishnu Gadapu gave list. All these trees possible in India, some of the trees we are doing, and whatever the trees possible here we are doing. In Dover also, we will be planting almost 200 to 300 trees, which is work in progress. So Prabhupada writes that when he saw all these trees lined up, but there's no fruits. His civilization, he said, in the modern civilization, such impious trees are planted on the sides of road. I would like others to give comment on this. Why Prabhupada says impious trees? Yes, I know that mango trees and banana trees are considered the pious, but because the other trees are pious doesn't mean that some trees are pious doesn't mean that other trees are impious. But Prabhupada writes, maybe some, and Vishnu Gadapu, we can put a comment on this. Human energy should be properly utilized in developing the finer senses for spiritual understanding, in which lies the solution of life. Fruits, flowers, beautiful gardens, parks, and reservoirs of water, with ducks and swans playing in the midst of lotus flowers, and cows giving sufficient milk and butter are essential for developing the finer tissues of human body. This is so wonderful, great. But we learn, we imbibe, we appreciate first, then we develop a desire to live in such environment and work on it. At this time, the community is still growing, and hopefully due course of time, these books from theory, it will manifest in practical way in many parts of the world, including United States. So it's 8:32. I would like to stop here. We covered many subjects. We covered Jagannath Rath Yatra, Dwarka, and loving union and separation. We covered living in cities and urban facilities, and glimpse of Dwarka Dham. So please comment and correct on this. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Kirtan, Prabhu. Thank you. A couple of comments. One is that in this area, the Rath Yatra was yesterday, but as you mentioned, Rath Yatra is today in Jagannath Puri and also in Calcutta. And if you look on the dandavats.com website, I don't know if you did that, but in the front, they have a recording of the Rath Yatra in Calcutta. And it's quite interesting. You can see in the beginning, they have many dancers in front of the Lord, and it's quite nice. Then an interesting point is that they did a study, social psychological study a while ago, because in the Meadowlands, which is the sports arena in New Jersey, close to New York, there was a lot of violence. And so they wanted to do different things to see what was the most effective way to reduce the violence among the crowd. So they did things like increase the police presence and put signs up. But the two things that they found were the most effective in curbing violence. Any guesses?
I'm guessing from your Rath Yatra and Kirtan.
Well, they didn't do that. No, unfortunately, it was a material thing. But the two things they found were the most effective in curbing the violence were planting of flowers and fruit trees around the area.
Oh, is it?
Planting of flowers. And another thing was to have people around with brooms and stuff cleaning up as to make it very look nice, that they had during the events, to have people with push brooms and things cleaning. So those two things were very effective, the most effective in curbing the violence, because well, they didn't have any much explanation, but according to this purport, that just the atmosphere of nature inspires the better qualities of the living being in the mind. So another point is that I was reading a history of the Mughal Empire in India.
Mhm.
You know, the Mughals. So according to the standard history, apparently the Mughals are credited with bringing gardening to India. Did you know that?
They are credited. They are credited. For
Yeah,
both
in the
things.
standard history that you read,
Yeah.
the Mughals brought the gardening to India. Oh, okay. So here we see that gardens were flourishing back then, way back with Lord Krishna. So it wasn't, apparently, I mean, they may have become less popular at a certain time and the Mughals brought them back, but obviously it was not initiated in beginning with by the Mughal invasion. So that's good. Another point is that, well, you know, there's sometimes arguments that the prasadam that we offer to Krishna is also like halva is from Turkey and stuff like that. Well, maybe it came recently, but just like the gardens, those things were there before also, and maybe it became less popular. But those, it's not that things originated necessarily in Turkey just because some recent history says so. And one other point is that so Dwarka is beautifully decorated, and so it's a as you mentioned, like a Vaikuntha or Krishna Loka kind of atmosphere. And so in the temples, it's also as you're trying to do in Dover and other places, important that the temple be beautifully landscaped and decorated with fruit, flowers, and stuff like that. So, you know, Prabhupada says that they were impious trees. Why impious? Because they have no fruits or flowers to offer to be used to offer to Krishna. You know, there is a peach tree in the Philadelphia temple, in case Philadelphia grounds, you know that, but it has to be maintained. There's lots of weeds, so those I would probably put the weeds in the category of being impious plants as well, and they can't even be used for fuel. At least I don't see how they could be used for fuel. So, but to inspire more beneficial consciousness or goodness consciousness that helps you to think about Krishna, you know, the atmosphere and the environment there in the temple, it's especially nice to have it well decorated with fruits, flowers, and things. Yeah. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Professor. Many great points to meditate that. You know, with environment with fruits and flowers, it creates a mode of goodness, which you mentioned, and that inspires, you know, the knowledge, and that's really very nice. When with reference to Mughals, yes, you know, they want to take credit. That's when in India so much of disturbance going on at this time. They say that, oh, the best architecture also comes from Mughals. You know, and all the temples and everything, they're nothing. Anyway, this has been since time immemorial. This is happening. Sorry for this. With, you know, as a facility we mentioned about having fruit trees or not, you know, city is not always possible to have all these things, but we can try help in other places where we can. We have Gita Nagari, we have wherever. City temples are educational places. Some or other we get enlightened and implement in other places. But thank you really so much for all these great points. Mother Sudevi, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I am at the temple, the internet is on and off, but on the same point of, like Vishnu Prabhu was saying, pious and impious trees, and also like decorating the temple yard. Actually, a lot of people may not come to the temple just by walking by. They will say, oh, how beautiful. It was the Hare Krishna temple, the yard is so beautiful. And then it just, I mean, Vrindavan, so many people goes for wedding, all this landscape, and they're taking pictures. So I think it's a lot of work, but it's kind of important to have the yard and the flowers and decoration and have it beautified. It's just Krishna's patient devotees, and it just, it's nice, it's beautiful, and it's an offering for Krishna that his yard is taken care of as much as his offering is taken care of. Yeah. That's all. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Very much. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's ownership. Devotees say it's my temple, it's our temple, it's our Lord's place. And if a cup is lying somewhere, we must take it out. Something like that. We should take ownership of it. It cannot be done by one person. It has to be done by all devotees to beautify with cooperation anyway. But thank you, Mother Sudevi, for bringing. Any other comments on this?
I did plant flowers one time, though.
Very nice. And you lived in Gita Nagari as well for some time.
Yeah, no, but here in Philadelphia, I planted some flowers.
Nice. Yes. Everybody can do within our capacity, So if you don't have any comments, I don't see any hands raised. I want to thank everyone. If any announcements, please do so. I know many devotees are going to Atlantic City tomorrow. And I wish everyone have a wonderful Rath Yatra. We are also doing a small scale within our premises, not major preparations. Those who cannot drive, those who want to join here, they are welcome as well. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
So I'll just share the screen and play that
Rath Yatra.
Rath Yatra. We can just end the class.
Sure.
Getting ourselves in the mood for the 3 Rath Yatras that are going to be happening this weekend.
I had thought of doing same, but you were doing the same. That's good.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah.
You read my mind.
Yes. So everybody have a wonderful Krishna conscious day and a wonderful day tomorrow, attending Rath Yatras or meditating or watching this video. This is actually a 4-hour video. You will be in Jagannath Puri. What could be better than that? So thank you. And we will see everybody again tomorrow morning at 7:50. Actually tonight at 5 o'clock for the happy hour, and then tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
এটার কোনো প্রবলেম হবে না তো? আমার চালাতে প্রবলেম।
আমি ভালো কথা হলো, এটা ব্যাগের পিছনে নেই, বাসায় কোমরে নেই।
এটা গিম্বেল ভাই, ওটা ওই মাল না।
তাহলে বলবো ওটা নিতে হবে না তোকে। নিচটা পড়ে গেলে কিন্তু শেষ বাড়া, খালি পদ।
ওম নমো নারায়ণায়। अग्रे पश्यामि तेजो निबिडतर कलायवलीलोभनीयम् पीयूष प्लावितोऽहौ तदनु तदुतरे दिव्य कैशोरवेशम् आवीतं नारदाद्यैः विलसदुपनिषत् सुन्दरी मण्डलैश्च नीलाभं कुञ्चिताग्रम् घनममलतरं संयुतं चारुभङ्ग्या
Not sure what happened, but again, like Prabhu said, this is on dandavats.com. So anybody who wants to continue to watch, we can watch there. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Krishna Kirtan, Prabhu.